Welcome back, guys. So over this past weekend, March 15th through the 17th, so that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I attended the Arcade Expo, which is hosted at the Museum of Pinball in Banning, California. It's an 18-acre pinball campus. Pretty crazy stuff. The Museum of Pinball, it's a non-profit organization, and they have tons of games. Over 1,000 arcade and pinball games, new stuff, old stuff, a little bit of everything. And this was the 5th Arcade Expo that they'd done, hence the 5.0, right? So I've gone to all of them, and it is definitely a fun time. And I do apologize, my shaky video, I don't have a gimbal or anything. I'm just walking around this place holding the camera. But I just wanted to kind of showcase some of the stuff you would be in store for. If you show up, if you decide to go to this next time. They do host a few events throughout the year, but the Arcade Expo is typically the big one. And it's usually, springtime, around this time, March of each year. And it's really fun. There's some pros and cons. The ticket prices have constantly gone up. Pretty damn crazy. I had a 3-day pass for myself. And that cost, I believe, $130. And if you went on like Friday, it was like 50, 65 or something like that on Saturday, 50 on Sunday. Something, it was around those prices, right? Around $50 to $70 a day. And it's definitely gone up quite a bit since they first started this expo. This footage that I took was on Friday, just because there was less people in there and I didn't really want to record too many people. But there's a lot of machines that were not ready to be played. And that's kind of a little disappointing. Throughout the weekend, I did go each day, kind of off and on, back and forth. I actually live just a few minutes away from the Museum of Pinball. So it's not a big deal for me. I love going, but yeah, the price is a little high. And like I said, some of these games just either they're not set up for free play, and the ones that don't have free play accessible in the dip switches and stuff like that, they typically will have them wired up, so you could just press a little button to insert coins, but a lot of them didn't have that either. So it was it was a little annoying. You would find a game you'd want to play, and then you'd jump on it and you couldn't play it. And then you would ask one of these volunteers or techs who were working here. Some of them knew what was up. Some of them were just more there to play around in games themselves, it seemed, or to just kind of chill. Because I did ask a couple people on a couple games, and they're just like, "Oh, let me find out." And then they disappeared, and you never frickin' seen them. But you did see this out of order sign quite a bit. But like I said, I don't want to dwell too much on those negatives. The food was expensive too, mind you, but hey, typically is at places like this. But throughout the weekend, into Saturday and Sunday, a lot of these games that weren't working or had issues, they were up and running just fine, so that was great. But they do have a huge collection of arcade games. They host the Kong Off. This year, it was Kong Off 7 with Richie Knuckles. I believe somebody, I'm going to have to double check, but I believe somebody did get a world record during the Kong Off. But you have Billy Mitchell there. They didn't really promote Billy Mitchell too much. It was Richie Knuckles' thing, but Billy was there with everyone. Say what you will about the guy. He's always at these things supporting arcades and doing that kind of stuff. So I can appreciate that aspect of what he does. And as you see, this place is just in a huge warehouse, essentially. I think they have 40,000 square feet, plus a bunch of more, like over 80,000 square feet that they can work with, I guess, from what I've seen. But this side of the expo here, the museum, I typically stay on the arcade side quite a bit. They do have a pinball side. I didn't get footage for the pinball side. I did get like a bunch of pictures and whatnot. And it's pretty cool, It seems to me once the doors open to go into this place that most of the people are rushing over to the pinball side. Because there were any of the arcade games, I could play any arcade game that I wanted. The pinball side, I rarely got the chance to play any of the pinballs I wanted. They had a Big Lebowski pinball. I just got to watch people play it. People are hogs, you know what I'm saying? I hate that. Like when you go to stuff like this and it's free play and you'll have a group of people, all friends and, you know, girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, kids, whatever the hell they are, right? And they're just hogging the freaking machine, man. Like every time I went to that specific machine, the Big Lebowski pinball machine, there had a group of people around it. And they would just keep taking turns between each other. Like if you weren't part of their group, you weren't getting a turn. Come on, man, that's not proper arcade pinball etiquette, right? But, you know, I didn't spend a lot of time on the pinball side. I do love pinball, but it just seems like arcade games are a little more accessible here once it starts getting really crowded. Like I said, this footage was from Friday when they first opened at like 2:30 p.m. And, you know, a lot of kids are still in school at that time. A lot of people are still working, doing that grind, that 9 to 5. And, you know, they start to show up a little while after that and the place starts to fill up. But even during the busy times, the arcade stuff is still really accessible. And as you see, there's a lot of these really weird old school games. These ones didn't work. I think they started to work. Like, see, this is the little button I'm talking about for games that don't have free play. You would push it and then start the game. Some of these weren't working, and then they were working throughout the weekend. But yeah, it's kind of cool to see this kind of stuff. See, you know, where arcade games had started from, because there's not just this stuff, but there's actual video arcade games that they had that were really old, like stuff I'd never seen before. And every year they're constantly adding new games, new arcades, new pinball games. Man, this one right there, Top Skater, I think I might have shown that a couple times. I love that game. That is one of my all-time favorite arcade games, and yes, my fat ass gets on there and starts busting out some tricks. Unfortunately, the version they had, just from the past couple years, the however the mechanism for the skateboard is attached, it's like getting really nasty and hard to move. Just a couple years ago, it was fine. Now it's kind of, you're gonna really get a workout trying to move that skateboard around. Kind of sucked, man. Like you could feel it was gunked up, and I'd heard a couple other people complain about it because it is a fun game. A lot of people like it. And then here's some really interesting stuff. Here's where the Kong off. I might have already showed that. I'll put a little extra panning footage of that in a moment. These little Hollow-seum games. There was a couple of these. I played them. I remember playing these at like Disneyland, like a little hologram game with live action stuff. Kind of reminds you of the Dragon's Lair type games, but just a hologram instead. They play the same. You have to react, you know, dude trying to kill monsters or cavemen or something. You know, it is what it is. But they kind of have the arcade situated, you know, shooting games. Here's a bunch of really old stuff. So some of it, you know, it's lumped together, but I don't know what the actual floor plan is. Because you got all the shooting stuff, and then on the opposite side, you have the really old-ass arcade games that not too many people were really interested in. Here we go. What else? We got Street Fighter 2. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of these were in really good condition. A few games kind of had a few issues, but nothing crazy. They had whatever this little VR experience thing was. This shooting game, I could never get it to work the whole time I was there during the weekend. I kept wanting to play that, but it never worked. Unfortunately, right? What else? All the racing games. What else? They had a Virtual On. I remember playing Virtual On at an arcade quite a bit back in the day. Ghosts and Goblins, love it. But Virtual On, it's prompted me to want to buy the Japanese Sega Saturn controller for my system and start playing some Virtual On the Sega Saturn. I think that would be really neat. Was playing it quite a bit with my youngest son. He really dug it, so that might be a cool purchase. Get a couple Virtual On sticks for the Saturn and start playing that. All the fighters over there. A lot of these racing games, they weren't on when I filmed, but they were on the next day or a little later in Friday. But it just kind of sucks. Like, you open the doors, man. Come on, man. You guys had some time to prep. Get these games on. Get the free play rolling. We spent a fortune to come here, man. You know, I came here with my wife and my 3 kids. You know, it was a fun time. There's a few vendors selling stuff. This dude in the corner over here selling a bunch of beat up NES and, you know, Nintendo 64 games that were dirty and mostly sports games and stuff like that. But yeah, there you go. Here's a little Kong off at the end with Billy Mitchell standing out here. Very accessible dude. Talk to him, hang out. But yeah, there we go. Was a really fun time. Very expensive. I'm sure next year the tickets will probably be like $80. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. It's a fun time, but just keep that in mind. If you're really into arcade stuff and you want to head out here, it does support a good cause, in my opinion. That's, you know, preserving the history of games. You know, they have Walter Day's little trading card museum going on over here throughout the whole weekend. They do host a lot of little screenings and music artists that come out. Typically the music I'm not really all that big into, so I don't bother with it. They do have a lot of, this year they did a lot of stuff for pinball, Pinball Machines 101 and 201, a bunch of stuff kind of teaching about the inner workings of pinball machines, how to take care of them, that kind of stuff. They had a lot of Q&As with some people. It was an interesting time. It was an interesting time. I typically go to play arcade games and to hang out and have fun. They did a little swap meet on Saturday, which was a bust. Just being honest. I mean, I did buy a couple things, a couple minor things. I think I got Song of the Sea for the PS4 for $5, and then a Star Fox watch, the little game watch thing, whatever the heck it's called, for like $5. So hey, that was kind of cool. But there you go. Just wanted to share this with you guys. I don't really do too many videos like this. Maybe I got to get a gimbal to be able to record better for these kind of things. But there you go. Just wanted to share it with you. Appreciate it. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sweet ass arcade love that notification bell. And with that said, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-byes, and boom. Bye.